You need to do some backtesting. So you need to know your data, you need to get your statistics.
What was the biggest mistake you made recently?
You need to be journaling your mistakes, you need to be journaling your performance. That's probably the only way how you can overcome this.
Hello and welcome to a new episode of Billions Talk. I am Lenka and today I have the pleasure of sitting down with Jan Srajer, an esteemed member of the Billions Club and an experienced day trader. You may recognize him from his shows Sunday Focus and Live Trading. In this exciting interview, we are diving deep into the world of trading by shedding light on the biggest mistake made by aspiring traders. Jan, as an expert in the field, will unveil the top 5 mistakes traders usually make at the start of their career. We are here to help you navigate these pitfalls and set you on the path to success. But it's not all. We will also delve into the art of analyzing and learning from your mistakes. Jan will share his invaluable insights and strategies to help you turn your mistakes into powerful learning opportunities. Remember, every mistake is a stepping stone towards becoming a better trader. So stay tuned for this engaging episode. And if you like our interview, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell for notifications. So, without further ado, let's get started. Hello Jan, welcome to the interview.
Hi Lenka, thanks for having me.
I'm gonna hit you with a tough question right from the beginning.
Okay.
What was the biggest mistake you made recently?
Alright, great question from the start. It was actually yesterday. And I've been talking about this mistake quite a lot on my Twitter and on my YouTube channel and so on. And even after 5 years of trading, I keep doing this mistake. And it's basically, sometimes I'm just like too overconfident in the setups, right? So I have like a really good setup on a chart where I have basically really high probabilities that a trade is going to play out. So I'm just like, okay, I'm gonna take this setup and I'm too overconfident and I can't accept the loss, right? So once the stop loss level is hit, sometimes I'm just like, okay, let's hold a little bit longer. And instead of losing, let's say 1%, I lose 1.4, 1.5, which in the end makes a big difference in your overall system. Because if you are targeting, let's say for 2 or 3% per week, then 2.5 or 3% is a big difference, right? Sometimes I'm struggling quite a lot with this when I have like these best setups, because since they are really good, most of the times they are going to play out, right? But once you have the setup that is not going to play out or is in a hitting the stop loss, then it's for me hard to accept it, and sometimes I'm just holding it a little longer. Usually it is after some losing streak where you took 3 losses in a row. Now there is like a really good setup, so you believe, okay, this one is going to play out and it's going to cover the losses, but it's going to be another losing one. So this is the bigger struggle that I probably have nowadays after 5 years of trading, and probably it's going to be the biggest mistake that I'm doing right now or making.
All right. How much money actually did you lose yesterday on this trade?
Yeah, so I'm copying these trades to multiple prop firm accounts. So in total I lost around $5,500.
So tell me, how do you actually handle the emotional aspect of losing money?
It's pretty hard, hands down. It's affecting your like private life, I would say. You can't tell that you are in a good mood after losing 5.5 grand, right? But overall this week I'm still in a profit on majority of my prop firm accounts. On one actually I lost the challenge yesterday. So I lost the trading challenge on one of the prop firms, but overall on my funded accounts I'm still in a profit. Obviously it could have been much bigger, but since this is quite a big loss, it's not that big. But overall still in a profit. If I wouldn't be, it would be definitely much harder to accept it and to get back from the losing streak or from the loss. But since this week still in the positive numbers, it doesn't feel that bad.
What was the biggest amount of money you lost in a trade, or let's say in a day?
Yeah, so that's like a year and a half ago back when I lost around $12,000 in one trade. It was like a really big portion of my portfolio. It was a combination of news event, not setting stop loss, and not being able to accept the loss. So basically, I was in a position, I went out from my office for like 30 minutes, But in the meantime, some like really important news came out to BTC market, and it basically dropped down by, let's say, like 15% in a few minutes. So I was in like 30% loss on my account. It was really tough loss and took me quite a lot of time to get back from this. So what I did after taking such a big loss is that I said to myself, I need to reset my mind for a while. And I stopped trading for like 2 months. I wasn't focusing on trading. I went to a holiday. I completely reset my mind, and I was able to cover this loss back after, let's say, 4 or 5 months. But you know, it was a tough one.
Did you think maybe that it's better to quit trading?
No. At the time, I wasn't thinking about quitting trading because I was already in like a profit overall from trading. And the system that I was doing, we were talking about it last time actually, that I had a struggle with going for a bigger account. So I was all the time around 100K on my account. And basically every time I made some money, I just withdrew it, right? So this helped me quite a lot because instead of keep increasing my capital size, I was withdrawing this money. So I had some cash ready for that. So it wasn't like that big of a deal, let's say, but I lost 30% of that 100K that I had on my account. So still a tough loss, but I'm quite happy that I wasn't increasing my capital because it would be much bigger, obviously.
Let's go back to the beginning of your trading career right now. Tell us, what were the biggest challenges you faced when you started trading?
Obviously, psychology. That was the biggest struggle. And I think everyone can be profitable with most of the strategies you see on the internet. Because the strategy is really like a small part of the whole puzzle of trading, basically. I would say it's like 30%. So not accepting the loss, that's a big part of trading. You just, you need to accept the fact that you can't predict the market. You have only probabilities, right? So if I know that, okay, there is a 50% chance that trade is going to play out, 60% chance, then knowing this fact makes actually quite easy to accept the loss. So that was a big thing for me. Once I realized, okay, I have this and that strategy that has this and that win rate. So in real action, I have a 60% strategy, 60% win rate with this strategy, with, let's say, average risk and reward 2.7, 2.8. I was able to accept the loss quite easily because I knew that, okay, out of 10 trades, most likely I'm going to win 6. And 4 of them is going to be losers. Once I realized this fact, I was able to accept the losses. Then obviously risking more. I think the worst thing that can happen to you when you are starting out is when you get to this like euphoria stage, right? When you made a lot of money and you made like a few good trades and you say to yourself, okay, now I basically know how to trade, right?
Yeah, it happened to me on my account.
It's quite a common mistake. So you feel like, okay, now I know how to trade, I'm going to crack this system completely, and instead of risking 1%, I'm going to start risking 10 because, you know, I'm in a winning wave, right? I can afford to risk more. And this is where the problem starts. So yeah, you need to stick to the system, you need to be able to accept the losses, and then obviously once you have all of these things, emotions will still be there. So you need to be able to handle yourself and not do stupid mistakes once you are, for example, in a position. And even if you are not, and if there is not any setup, you just can't be taking some random trades. That's very important, because sometimes I feel like a lot of people are thinking about trading in a way that it's a standard like 9-to-5 job. So they need to be taking setups every single day, every single US session, for example. It's not the case. You need to wait for your best potential trade, best potential setup, and then you need to execute it. But if you think that you gotta be taking trades every single day, definitely not.
Yeah, I think it's the same problem for me, you know, because I'm not patient. And if I trade, then I feel like I have to do some work, right? So it's really, really hard sometimes not to do anything.
Yeah, because sometimes less is more, basically, in trading. So less time you spend on charts, I think it's actually more valuable to you, because what I do now after 5 years is every single morning I do my trading plan for the upcoming, let's say, 6 to 8 hours. So I kind of know what scenario I want to see. I kind of know what movement I want to see on a chart. And if I don't have a setup, I'm simply not taking it. So sometimes I don't take any trade in 3-4 days, and then the 5th day I make basically let's say 7%, for example. It's like a big amount in one day, but it's because I was patiently waiting, and when there wasn't any setup, I wasn't losing and I wasn't taking anything.
You know, what I see is that most of the traders, when they start out, basically they jump into trading without like any strategy at all. Myself, I didn't know anything about the risk management. I didn't put any stop loss, so I just jumped into trading and lost all my money within a week. So what would you advise to people like me that would prevent them from losing all their money within a week?
Yeah, so as you said, you gotta have system. So when you're starting out, look for some strategy that's going to be proven. And what I mean by that, you need to do some backtesting. So you need to know your data. You need to get your statistics. For example, you need to know your win rate. You need to know how many setups in average I'm going to take per week. Because once you know this fact, let's say that you're going to take 3 setups per week, then it's much easier to wait patiently for some setup instead of thinking every single day I need to be taking some trade. So definitely get some strategy, then backtest it, get your data, and that will be the thing that I will start with. You need to pay attention to risk and reward. You need to pay attention to win rate.
Maybe a risk and reward for some people that don't know what it is exactly. Can you explain it briefly?
Yeah, so basically risk and reward is the ratio where, for example, you are risking $1,000 to make $3,000. So if you have 3 risk and reward ratio, then that's the case, right? Risking 1,000 to make 3,000, for example. So that's the risk and reward ratio. Because a lot of times I see that people are too focused on the win rate itself, but win rate is not that important in the end, because if you have a really good risk and reward, then you can have 30% win rate and you can still be profitable.
What are some other advices you would give me?
Yeah, so nowadays what I do, I pay a lot of attention to when the setup is occurring on a chart. So I want to know when I can expect some trade to occur, when some setup is formed on a chart. So for example, pay attention to your strategy during US session and compare it to London session. You want to know when you have the best performance, because you can be trading 24/7, right? You gotta sleep, you gotta do like some other things and so on. So it's very important to know that, for example, from let's say 2 p.m. to 5 p.m. I need to be trading because that's the best time for my strategy. So I would really pay a lot of attention to this.
And what about you? So what is the best time for you?
Yeah, so best time for me is during London session from 9 to basically 11:30, and then from like 2 p.m. to 5 p.m. So I trade during these times. I don't want to be holding trades overnight. Sometimes when I have like a really good setup, and that's the thing, right? Once again, I'm talking about the best potential setup, and then it's not playing out because I'm like too overconfident in these trades. But sometimes I'm keeping them open overnight when the setup is really, really good. But I did a research, or I did a backtesting on these overnight trades, and let's say from 80% win rate, I have only 50% win rate with these trades. But it's still worth to take them because I have my average risk and reward on these trades is 3.3, so it's still a pretty good trade. But that's the thing, from 80% we are going down to 50. So it's very important to know all of these statistics and keep a journal of them, because once you have these data, it removes your emotions from trading.
And when you are trading, you are 100% focusing on watching your charts, or sometimes you go for a walk?
Oh yeah, I'm trying to, but we are only humans, and sometimes you just make some of these stupid mistakes. And there might be something in your personal life, for example, when you don't feel great, when you are, you don't have the best stage of your life and so on. So, everyone's talking in like every single profitable trader is going to tell you that he's 100% disciplined and he's 100% focused and so on. I think it's not the case all the time, because even myself, sometimes I just don't feel great and I know that I shouldn't be trading, but I am still. And then it leads to losing some trades, some unnecessary losses and so on. So I can tell you that 100% of the time I'm focused, but I would say from 95% I am.
I know that you manage your own Discord group.
Yeah.
What are the mistakes that people in your community usually deal with?
Yeah, so they are being impatient. I'm basically telling them all the time that it's important to wait for their best potential trade. And sometimes we just don't have any setups and they are like, oh my God, what we are doing? We should be making money in the market. And we are just staying on the sidelines. Then they take a trade that is actually not in favor with their strategy and they take unnecessary losses. So I think this is where I'm like really good. I think that I'm quite patient. I can really wait for 3, 4, 5 days for some trade. That's like my big edge, I would say. So that would be the mistake number one, and the mistake number two is revenge trading. So once they lost some setups, they hit some losing streak, they are trying to make this money back, and they basically lose even more.
So what would you advise to them, like not to do the revenge
Yeah,
trading?
so what I do, because it's pretty hard, once you are on a losing streak and you see that, okay, I'm down 5%, for example, which if you have like a big capital or multiple pro firms and so on, when you think about it, it's a huge sum of money, right? So what I personally do is once I'm down more than 3%, then I'm just giving myself a break. This is recently what I did on gold, and we are talking about it on live stream, I think 2 days ago here on Billions Club. I was saying that I took 4 losses in a row on gold chart in last, let's say, 8 days, and I will just stop trading gold for next 10 days. I'm just gonna let the market do what it's supposed to do. It's gonna form some different price action. It will be in completely different price levels, most likely, or it will form new zones and so on. And I will have new opportunities in 10 days. So I'm just gonna reset my mind. I'm gonna wait for better opportunities to come, and then I will get back to gold chart.
Let's dive deep into the mistakes you make when using technical analysis. What are the mistakes usually?
Nowadays, personally in my trading, I don't think I make a lot of mistakes from TA perspective, because I really developed a quite strict system, quite mechanical system, where I have checklists of the things I need to be checking. So from 95% of times, I don't make any mistakes from TA perspective. And sometimes, because market sometimes is in basically some like a weird sideways movement, for example, when you can't really apply your TA. So what I do when I have this is simply, like I said, for example, now on a gold, I'm just gonna skip this and I'm gonna wait for 10, 15, 20 days for market to form something new. So like I said, nowadays I don't make a lot of mistakes from TA perspective. But as you mentioned, I have my own group. People usually trying to use different indicators, trying to combine them together, because they think that if they will combine 5 indicators together, it will give them better win rate, better strategy, and so on. Hands down, strategy is only 30% of the whole thing. I think you can be profitable even with like an RSI or MACD if you know how to use it correctly. But most importantly, you need to know how to manage money. You need to know how to manage your emotions and so on. But I would say try to keep it as simple as possible.
So if we talk about the indicators, what indicator I should use as a beginner?
It really depends on your strategy. Like I basically don't use any of the indicators. I use VWAP, which is volume weighted average price. So it's based on a volume and a price section. It's calculated together. So that's what I use. It's a really good indicator for scalping and day trading. But apart from that, I use volume profiles. I wouldn't really call it indicator, or I think indicators you usually think about RSI, MACD, and these things. So yeah, I use volume profiles. I use VWAP, volume weighted average price, as I said, and that's basically it. But if you are starting out, then I would say use VWAP. It's good. It's good for scalping, day trading. If you are swing trading, you can use like a quarterly VWAP. So it's not, because the VWAP that I use is calculated on basically daily volume, daily price section. So every single daily open, the VWAP is resetted. But if you are talking about swing trading, you can use like a yearly VWAP, weekly VWAP, monthly VWAP, for example. So this would be the setting that I change. But focus on price action and liquidity. This is the most important thing in trading.
Also, you mentioned the checklist that you have. Can you mention a couple of things that you have on your checklist?
Yeah. So some basic ones. I'm looking for market structure. I want to see if we are in sideways movement, if we are in some trending movement overall. Even though I'm a day trader, I'm checking higher time frames. So I'm checking daily chart, I'm checking 4-hour chart, and I'm trying to see like what's the order flow on these time frames. And what I mean by that is I want to see what's the intention in last few days of the market. Is it trying to go higher? Is it trying to go lower? And you are trying to go with the trend. You don't want to go against it. Usually, sometimes you can when there's a good opportunity and you are looking for some pullback in the market, for example. But market structure. Then I'm looking for liquidity. I have some exact steps that I'm taking every single morning to spot where's the liquidity. Since I'm footprint and order flow trader, I have access to probably more data than 95% of traders. So I see on Bitcoin, for example, I see open interest. So I see where the positions are being open and where there could be potentially a lot of liquidity. So that's what I do. And I'm checking or I'm looking for supply and demand zones. Once again, combining more time frames, so usually daily, 4 hour and 15 minute. And I'm looking for some fundamental news throughout the day. So I want to be aware of some news that could be coming out, for example, in 2, 3, 4 hours. Because sometimes when you have like a really good news or really like high impact news, let's say it like this, market is not moving at all and it's remaining in a sideways movement. So I can form a bias. What is a bias, or what are bias is that you have some expectations from the chart. So for example, when we have FOMC meeting, I'm not expecting any high volatility movement until these news are released. So simply, I'm not taking any single trade until the news gets released. And then once the initial price action is formed, then I'm actually trying to look for some trade.
We discussed technical analysis. What about fundamental analysis? Are there any mistakes people usually make?
Yeah, so I'm really just a price action trader. So I don't pay basically zero attention to fundamental news. Because I'm a day trader, and a lot of times you get these like fake movements after the news. So there are some like super positive news for dollar, for example. So DXY is shooting to the upside, Euro USD is going heavily down, but it only grabs liquidity, for example, and then it reverses completely. So I don't pay a lot of attention to the actual data from the news. I'm just waiting for the initial price action to be formed, and then I trade a setup that I'm used to. I trade a setup where I have the statistics, where I have the advantage.
Let's move to psychological mistakes. What are there? What are the biggest psychological mistakes that usually traders have to deal with?
Definitely being too overconfident, being too biased. So when you feel like, okay, we have really good setup, it just has to play out. You have only probabilities. You can have, I don't believe that you can have like 95% win rate, 90% win rate. Even 80 is like a really, really high win rate, and usually you will have like a worse risk to reward. So you'll have around 1-to-1 risk to reward. So yeah, being too biased, being too overconfident, revenge trading, that's a big thing. Once you're on some losing streak, really give yourself a break. It can happen. It's absolutely the nature part of trading. You can expect 5, 6 losing streaks per year. So once you hit a losing streak, just give yourself a break for maybe a week, maybe 2. It really depends, it's up to you. But that would be the thing, or biggest mistake number 2. And biggest mistake number 3 is just you're not disciplined. You're not able to stick to your plan, stick to your strategy and execute it correctly. So that would be the mistake number 3.
What about you? How do you stay focused? And because I feel like trading is very, very stressful. How do you keep yourself calm?
Yeah, great question. So as I said, I'm usually trading these 2 sessions intraday, right? So I'm trading from 9 a.m. to 11:30 usually. That's the time where I'm just like, I'm trying to be focused. I'm trying to really pay 100% of my attention to the chart. Once I take some trade, I have this like set and forget approach. So I have my trade, I have my stop loss, I have my take profit, and I don't really care what's going to happen.
Okay, so you don't watch the graph anymore?
I'd lie if I would say that I don't watch the graph. I definitely do. And sometimes I'm managing the trade. So for example, this week what I did, we were in like a sideways movement on BTC and I was long. And since I am a footprint trader, like I said, I have the access to the data, and I see that, okay, for example, new positions on long side are being opened, new short positions are being opened, and so on. And I saw potential of price going down even lower, grabbing some liquidity, and then potentially we could go higher, basically the target that I was waiting for. So what I did is I closed my position in a break even. I was waiting for US market to open. So US session or New York session was opening. Market actually went down, grabbed the liquidity, I got in long again, and then the take profit level was hit after 2 hours, for example. So I'm managing the trade, but it's not that like I enter a position and I'm only sitting in front of a screen and I'm paying attention to what's happening. Usually what I do is I set an alert on like a key levels, and once the key level is hit, I get a notification on my phone. I'm coming back to the computer and I'm managing the trade.
When you're on holiday, do you watch graphs or not at all? You are just, focused on enjoying your time.
Of course I do. Of course I do. But I usually check the chart in the morning and then potentially in the evening. But I don't trade most of the time. When I was in Dubai in December, I took 2 trades. Both of them were winners, so it basically covered my whole holiday. So that was nice.
One.
Yeah. But usually I'm trying to really not trade, and I'm trying to not pay too much attention to charts. But since I'm running quite a big community, I keep getting questions about what is likely to happen, and maybe some questions about the strategy and so on. So I'm active, but definitely not that active as I am usually.
Okay.
We have quite a few good traders already that basically watch the course and they made it, so they are profitable traders, money traders. So usually when I'm out, they are taking care of the group. So they are answering the questions, they are providing the TA, and so on. Nowadays, it's not only about me, but it's also about the good traders that we have inside the community that are actually helping the new buys. So that's I'm really grateful for that, because basically I taught them my strategy, they made it, they really put in the hard work, dedication, they made it in trading, and now they are sharing their experience to new buys.
What about your girlfriend? Is she a trader as well?
No, she's not.
She's not. And is she gonna get into trading or not?
No, I don't want to actually.
Why?
I don't know. I feel like
it would be just too stressful.
Yeah, it would be bad for our relationship. So I'm not sharing anything about trading to her.
All right. Sometimes it's good, right?
Yeah.
And what about like when you talk to your friends or to your family? Do you share some trading news with them? Do you just keep it to yourself and to your community?
Yeah, usually I do. I'm not talking about trading with my parents because they don't understand what I'm talking about.
For them, you are a history student or what?
No. They know that I'm trading, but okay. I'm not telling them, like, for example, how much I make or what I actually like do. But they don't really understand the whole concept, I'd say. And about my friends, then I have like a really small circle of friends. I don't have like a huge amount of friends, so they know about trading, and I'm trying to help them actually. So I'm mentoring one of my best friends. I'm showing him how to trade, what I use, and I'm trying to set him for right path in trading.
Right. We have discussed mistakes. One thing is to actually realize the mistake. Second thing is to analyze the mistake. But the most important thing, I believe, is how to avoid making the same mistake over and over again.
That's a good one, because as you said, it's very important to even realize the mistake, because sometimes you keep making it, doing it, and you don't even realize it. And that's why you should be journaling. I'm saying this all the time, but once you have some journal and you are collecting some data, statistics, some notes about yourself, then you'll see that, okay, I keep repeating the same mistake, so I need to overcome it. That's what I do, for example. So when I make some mistake, yesterday I made a big mistake. I took some notes about it. I have a Notion template where I gave this mistake like a warning icon where I see that, okay, this was like a really big mistake and I need to overcome it. So that's what I do. You need to be journaling your mistakes. You need to be journaling your performance. That's probably the only way how you can overcome this.
Do you keep journaling just mistakes you make in trading or in your life in general?
No, usually I do only trading.
Is there anyone who helps you analyze your mistakes? Like, do you have some mentor or someone who you can discuss with?
I'm actually doing it on my own, but since we have these good traders in my community, sometimes we are actually discussing our mistakes that we make. We call it like a inner circle, where it's only us, like the proven traders, and we are trying to help each other here inside this group. So this group is completely private. You can get access to it. You can, once you make it in trading, then you will be accepted to this group. But it's really a place where we just talk about our mistakes and we can share our data and statistics, but usually we can do it on our own. But sometimes when we are hitting some like longer losing streak and we need some help to get out of it, they help us with some trades, for example. They share some of their positions so we can copy them and we can get back to the right path.
What was the biggest mistake you made and learn from it that helped you get your trading performance to the next level?
it was probably not sticking to the plan. So I realized that everyone is talking about the plan. Everyone is talking about a strategy. And I realized that I didn't have like a mechanical strategy at all. It was still based on kind of experience and how you felt about the chart. So I started working on statistics. I started working on data and on some checklists and on some like mechanical system. And that helped me a lot.
When we look at the statistics, 90% of traders are not profitable in the long run, right? How to get to the top 10?
Right. So once again, you need to have a profitable system because that's where it starts. You need to have some good strategy. Even though I said it's only 30% of it, you need to have some system that is profitable overall. So you need to gain your statistics, get your data. You need to know that, okay, this actually works. And then you need to work on yourself. So you need to be able to accept the losses. You need to be able to stick to the whole system. So if I know that I need to be risking 1%, I just need to be risking 1%, right? And then you need to keep improving. So you need to keep, I wouldn't say changing your strategies, but doing some adjustments because market is dynamically changing. So you need to be adjusting yourself and your strategies to it. So that would be the second thing I would really pay attention to, and just the risk management. That's a big part of it. Psychology and risk management. That's a huge part of trading, and these 90% of traders, they either don't have a proven strategy or they are not able to stick to the plan or stick to the risk management system.
Yeah. I feel like everyone thinks that after watching a short YouTube video, then you are a master trader, right? And no one really thinks that you don't play in NBA after like 2 or 3 days of playing on the playground,
Yeah,
right?
that's a good one. You need to realize that you are playing against banks, institutions, smartest, fastest, and much more informed traders than you are actually. So once you know this fact, then you gotta admit that it's not gonna be that easy, and it's not that easy. And in order to beat them, or at least be on their side, you need to develop some system, and you need to be really strict to yourself, and you need to be really disciplined because you can expect you're gonna make money every single day, and you can expect that you're gonna predict every single movement. So let's say you want to make money from the movements that you can statistically predict. So that's what I do. That's how I think about it. I know that I don't have the ability to predict every single movement, but I have the ability to predict some of the movement with some win rate, right? So I know this fact. And that's why I'm able to patiently wait for my setup to come.
Last question. What would you advise to traders to get better in trading straight away? Tomorrow, right now?
All right, tough one. But I'd say personally, the daily trading plan. Because if you create your plan in the morning and you kind of have like the scenarios you want to see, the scenarios you are waiting for to execute, that can, I think, improve your trading straight away, because you will be able to patiently wait for your setup. You can calculate your risk management in advance, and once the setup is here, it's either gonna be a winning trade, or you're gonna get stopped out, or you will miss the whole move completely. That doesn't really matter because you have your strategy, you have your system, and you have your plan, so you can patiently wait for your setup, and it's either going to play out or it's going to be a losing one.
It was great. Thank you for your time.
It was amazing, Lenka. Thank you so much, and hopefully these tips I gave you will help you in your trading journey.
Absolutely. So guys, thank you for watching. And if you like our interview, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell for notifications. So see you in the next episode.